Austin, so much has happened, and Mini Takes Podcast is excited to talk about it on today's mega show. GW kills Tabletop Simulator. I think that's good. I played my first 11th edition game, and I've got some thoughts. There is a whole new old world, a new fantastic point of view. More onboarding news, because we talked about it last week. And finally, Warhammer versus the world. They're on a world takeover, and it's going well. Mini Takes Podcast.
Look, if I open up your painting tutorial and the first step is getting out an airbrush, buddy, I'm not watching.
Bunch of nerds on the internet. Are you even having fun with this anymore?
Shane, if this happens, there's going to be wailing and gnashing of teeth, people burning their armies.
If you can't see it, don't paint it. Austin! 11th
Hey,
edition
how's it
is
going?
here, and I've played it. I'm Shane, that's Austin. You are listening to Mini Takes Podcast. All right. Mini Takes wants your takes. This week, week before last, YouTube algorithm really liked us, showed it to a lot of people. Quite a few commented. We read them. This week, YouTube didn't like us, didn't show it to many. Nobody commented. However, I found one over on Spotify. If you listen on Spotify and want to see us, you can do so over on YouTube. So check that out. You can see the rundown of the show. You can see the room for future nonsense, where it usually says something absurd. Today, informational. It says that I played 11th edition, because I did. But the comment that we have today, and it's honestly good that we don't have very many, because otherwise we wouldn't be able to get to this ever-growing rundown. The rundown was supposed to be 3 things when we started the show. When we reformatted, when we rebooted from 40K Fanatics podcast and decided to do this like a ESPN hot takes show. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're at 6 today, and we could come up with more. Maybe we'll do 2 shows.
There's just too much stuff.
There's a lot of stuff. It's very fun. We haven't even been talking enough about bolt action. I got more bolt action stuff done. I got some in my cart. I have a problem. Dave and Company over on Spotify says, yes, those boxes, he's talking about the new army boxes that are not so new. Yes, those boxes look quite familiar. Good if you are just diving into an army, but meh. He goes on to say, Austin, I feel your pain when you just want to paint right out of the bottle. Monument does have some like gray green or dark green brown. Have you seen those? Shane, don't interrupt Austin. That's just rude. LOL. He is right, and I do that. I need you sometimes to hold your hand up and demand that you take the floor.
I need like a buzzer system, just like buzzes, mutes your side.
Yeah.
I can talk.
Yeah, something like that. And that's me coaching you, coaching me, because I can't help myself at times, but he is right. Then he says, new Chaos Warriors for Old World. They looked amazing. They could get me into Old World, though I don't know anyone who plays, and I don't have bandwidth for another rule set. Well, let me tell you, buddy. If you don't feel like you have bandwidth for a rule set, then Old World is not the one. Because that damn thing, we're going to talk about it. But first, let's get right into it. GW came out and dropped the hammer, the old lawyer hammer, the DMCA claim, as it is called, which has something to do with, well, I don't know what it has to do with. Though I am quite litigious, my legal acumen is kind of on the macro, which we will get into. It will be useful in this discussion. But what it amounts to is over on Steam, and the Steam Workshop, in concert with Tabletop Simulator, GW's lawyers sent out a cease and desist letter saying that you cannot distribute these mods that have all of our rules, all of our models, and the entire game that is their IP. And I think that it's wonderful that they have done this. Now, that's my take. Do you have some thoughts?
It's not going to be effective.
It's actually... Go ahead.
It cuts off the source from, the Steam Workshop, but there's nothing stopping someone from just going into a tabletop Simulator Discord and just having them all up on like a mega. There's no reason. There's nothing to stop that.
Right.
And I've seen people that do this kind of stuff. And they mention that they're like, there's no reason if you, even if you take down the mega, there's gonna be another one in like an hour. You
Yeah.
just can't stop it.
So many of your YouTube outlets, and we will be one, will have their video titled something to the effect of GW kills Tabletop Simulator. That's what it says in our rundown on the screen, by the way. Austin can't see the rundown until like this version that I type up until the video's out. But ours says GW kills TTS, all right? That's not what happened, and I don't believe that was ever the intent of what happened. What we have here, because I've also seen some reporting, and I forget the source. I should be better at this and look those sorts of things up and make a note when I see it. But they didn't go after like Tabletop Simulator. They went after some account in the Steam Workshop that I don't even know is somebody necessarily, right? Like it's not a I don't even think it's like a for-profit entity. It's just a username, right? That they sort of
Hmm.
sent the what is it, certified email, I guess. The hey, stop that, either to Steam or to the guy or to both. And Steam was like, say less, and they pulled it down, right? Um,
Yeah.
there, what GW did not do is put a guard at the gate of Steam to check every single thing that comes through the Tabletop Simulator Steam Workshop page to check and see, oh, is it a 40K thing? No, okay, you come through. Oh, it's a 40K thing. Go to jail. That's not what happened. What I believe we are seeing is a necessary legal practice, which is which has to do with the legal concept of I believe it's acquiescence. Okay, and what that is, Austin, if you have got a secret chicken recipe
Oh my goodness.
and you're cooking chicken and selling chicken, right? If
Yeah.
I
Call me the
take
Colonel.
if I take your recipe and start cooking and selling the same chicken, would you be cool with that?
I don't know. Maybe I find it in my heart to
I'm
share more.
well, I'm your friend, right? So you might be cool with
Yeah.
me doing it. Okay.
Yeah. Then
All right.
start making a lot of money.
Right. Well, now Frank decides that he is also going to use your secret recipe and start selling chicken as well. How do you feel about Frank making a bunch of money selling with your chicken recipe?
Oh, I'm not. I don't really like Frank ever since he did that one thing to me. So I don't really like this situation.
Okay, so you're going to sue Frank to stop him. And the
Yeah.
judge is going to say, well, but what about your buddy Shane, who also uses your chicken recipe?
Oh my goodness. What do I do then?
You lose because you've already
Oh gosh.
you've already established a precedent in your own business practices of it's cool if my thing is like an open source thing. You can't later decide, no, that's not cool. Everybody kick rocks. Like if you knowingly allowed me to operate on with your chicken recipe, then you have to it's quite literally only fair because again, you and I are not business partners in this hypothetical, right? We're individual chicken sellers. A third one is allowed to exist. And so what this is when you are the custodian of an IP, such as Warhammer 40,000, you have to periodically defend that property in court. There has to be a continual and steady uh, uh, advocacy for yourself. Or else you can end up in a situation where somebody comes along and says, well, I'm doing 40K now for money, etc. And then you just have to eat that because you've allowed others to do similar, or even for
So you're
free.
saying that in so you're saying in the legal realm there is only war.
Yes, that is absolutely what I'm saying. That's very clever of you, in fact. Now, I also think that something like the Steam Workshop is a hugely, because another thing we're seeing, speaking of war, is a lot of videos titled GW goes to war with its community. It hasn't. It hasn't. The only reason why the community's at war with GW is because their legal acumen is like nothing. We don't teach this well in school. If I had $1 for every buddy of mine that got a moving violation ticket and then got in more trouble because they didn't pay the ticket in time, because they're like, well, the court date says it's this day, so I try to pay it at that day. Okay, if you pay it at 5 o'clock at that day, you're in contempt of court. You're going to go to jail next time that they find you. Okay? But
Yeah.
just that little thing, folks, by the way, if you live in the US, if you get a ticket, you can pay it the next day and all the way up until that court date. I recommend you pay it weeks in advance of the court date. All right? If you got something to argue, then you show up. But if you think, well, I'll wait till, I'll send it in online at 7 o'clock at night on the day, you're going to go to jail. Don't do that.
It worked for me in college.
Hey, again,
with homework.
The stakes are not quite as high with homework, despite what the professors might try to make you believe. But anyway, I say all that to say that I think that this tabletop simulator thing is a fairly benign piece of action of this sort. Because if they really wanted to go get somebody, and they have hit them before, they would go at Baron of Dice, or they would go at any sort of Warhammer art creation and distribution, right? Like visual art, little tchotchkes, Etsy shops, things like that. And sometimes they do have to. But they know good and well that the stuff is going to be back up on Steam nearly immediately under a different username. And I don't think they're upset about it. The fact that these Steam things don't really operate like for profit. I mean, obviously, I'm sure that these creators and stuff have Patreons and things like that, but that's somewhat indirect, right? The fact that it's not for $5, you get the mission pack, tells me that they don't actually have any interest of pursuing any of this. It's just, hey, stop it. Okay, that was filed with the legal system of the world, if you will. And then they move on. And at the end of the day, there's no blood anywhere. And I think that's good. Now, why did I say that it's good? Go ahead.
I was just going to say, it feels just a very routine situation with copyright protection. It's because you're literally posting the rules and everything that they require to make money off of. It's not, they're not cracking down on anything more advanced than that. If you were to be peddling like PDFs of the rule book on a site or something, then it'd be the same exact scenario.
So things like rule systems are not in themselves copyrightable, okay, or are not trademarkable. It's one or the other, because this was the entire thing about the D&D. What was it? OSR or whatever it was, the sort of open source, yes, the open source rules of D&D. And then Wizards was like, nah, that stuff's ours. Well, it isn't, is it? That became a situation of, we're saying that that's ours, and we challenge you guys to go to court with us with whatever pennies you have in your piggy bank, right? That was a pretty well bully tactic. This I don't think really is, because again, there's not any money in this, and in the case of the Dungeons and Dragons things, there were a number of creators, third-party module creators who could have been, and I suppose, well, and then they backed off the entire thing. So, but there could have been some money awarded in various directions, right? And it would not have gone the way of the little guy. Now, when we were discussing this in our local group chat, I said that this is good. I've got a hot take. I think that playing 40K on Tabletop Simulator is super lame, and I think broadly harmful to the hobby.
Wow.
What do you think of that? Do you think I'm crazy?
So you're saying that if I'm half invested into the game, playing it on in my underwear at my desk, with who knows who from across the world, just like, rolling the non-physical dice that are like bouncing all over the place due to the physics engine. You're saying I'm not a 40K gamer?
I'm saying that you are a net. I'm saying that your action is not
Am I a
healthy.
tourist?
You know, I don't. I'm not. I don't want to actually. You know what? I don't really want to make any character judgment. I think it's more the thing that you're doing kind of sucks, and I think on the whole, it harms the hobby more than it helps. Here's why I think that. I think that the tactile nature of actually playing this thing in person with a with a person, the actual touch grass of it is the magic of the thing. It is not the setting, it is not the rules, it is not the game, because the game is never weaker than it is on Tabletop Simulator, where you can measure exactly, where you can play the games fast, where you can try out any old random list that you can possibly conceive of. The game shows all of its flaws and warts and everything. And you're sitting doing even more internet nonsense. Possibly anonymous internet nonsense that we do all the time. Now, to play devil's advocate, people made the argument in the local group chat because they did not appreciate my take, as you might imagine. I don't think I am clearly in the minority on this, and they were like, you should be able to play the game even though your schedule may not match up with other people and your work schedule and the time you have and travel considerations. You know, what if I want to play with my buddy in Hawaii? Those sorts of things. To which I hear you. Those are fair points. Um, they also made an argument that I think is totally false, that there's nobody playing Tabletop Simulator only, which I'm like, yes, there is. There is a
Yes, there are. Yeah.
huge community of people that have never stepped in a game store, never touched a model, never rolled any dice, right, and have no interest in it. They play it as a video game. And to that I say, this idea that, well, what about your time and your schedule and your other commitments and responsibilities, right? To that I say, you go and play basketball. You go and play golf. You go hunting, fishing, loving every day, right? You go and drink beers with your friends. You go to the movies if you're still into the movies. Because that is what those things are. And I think that this, while it is not sport, you know, we get into this whole thing. Is it sports or chess? Chess, largely played in person. You got to be some sort of maniac to just be playing online chess all day, and that's what you do. And this becomes the other part. If you want to play online, not in person games, then there's better games. The magic of this one is we actually go and do it.
So you're saying that I can't be a golfer if I'm playing Wii Sports and not hitting the course?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. No, you're playing the Wii, man. What are you talking about? And look, I know a thing or two about some golf, all right? Like really do. It's been another professional dabbling that I've explored, all right? And I would even go as far to say if all you ever do is play on your at-home simulator, you may not be a golfer, because when I take you off of your perfectly level mat, we're going to see some stuff happen that you're not used to happening. So, yeah. Um, even in those cases which are way out on the edge, uh, no, I don't think you're doing the thing, because the thing is like not just, oh, I'm rolling the dice and I'm reading the rules and I'm playing the game. That's not actually the thing. The thing is the going and doing the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you've said it perfectly.
And so, in answer to that, just to put a bow on this thing, what I think we should do is dismantle the internet entirely.
I I think we can keep the internet.
I don't think
just
we
need
can.
to.
No. I think the whole thing has been a mistake. This is going to be the last time you guys hear from Mini Takes Podcast, because we're going to have to like find an actual network to do this on. There's 17 audience members for this. I don't know how that's going to make a whole TV channel, but
I know, what we could do is just create a transcript of our conversation and then create a mailing list to mail that like little booklet. Be like Mini Takes Volume 1.
maybe after we destroy the internet and it no longer exists anymore, I'm imagining that the computers still do. So maybe we can get a good deal on like a bulk buy of thumb drives, and we could send like a quarterly update. We could be Mini Takes Quarterly, and in the mail you'll get a thumb drive, and you can put it in your computer and listen to it or watch it.
Send us your takes by mail.
That's right. Yeah, man. We get takes by
Be
mail.
like the old American Home videos with little like little address
Could you
at the
imagine
bottom of the
how
screen.
fun it would be if I was set here with a letter opener, opening up envelopes, taking out an actual piece of paper, reading what would be a lot, because people aren't going to get to do that very often, and then just flinging it over my shoulder on the video that you would get quarterly? That would be great. So
Yeah.
anyway, Tabletop Simulator, if that's the only way you play the game, please try it in person. There's nothing like it. It's really good. Also, we're stopping the internet. We're taking it down. I think society as a whole will heal nearly overnight.
We're cutting it down.
Yeah. This is the revolution. Get off the internet. All right. I played my first game of 11th edition, and it was really cool. So, my Chaos Space Marines went up against the homie Ginny's Tyranids, and we played two actiony dispositions. I think I was Disruption, and I think she was Reconnaissance, okay? And so we had a mission where I was trying to decoy points. So I had to do an action in my shooting phase where I put a marker on a point. And then what she could do is she could surveil me. So that was her action, where one of her guys would like see me. That counted for points, right? Just there he is. It had to be on a point that did not have any decoy markers. The way she could clear decoy markers is by putting bodies on the point. If she got bodies on the point, the decoy's all cleared. Basically, it was like, is that the bad guys? Are those the bad guys there? We're not sure. Let's go check. Oh, nope, it wasn't. Or it actually was the bad guys, but now the tokens are gone. And so there was this back and forth of, I'm trying to put them down, she's trying to pick them up, she's trying to spot me. There was some standing on the points, but that was kind of minor. And it was awesome, man. There were places on the battlefield that we were not interested in actually getting stuck in on. But then there were other places where it had just sort of happened. And so there's this big skirmish going on. And it was really fun. It came down, final score 90-93. I lost on her managing to, she got a secondary mission where it was, kill somebody on a point. I had what was at that point a lone sorcerer standing on the point. He got murdered by some sort of psychic bug, and that was the 3 points that set her over the edge. Otherwise, we were very close to a draw. And I couldn't be happier with it. The -1 ballistic skill is a way better way for cover to work. It actually makes it feel like it does something. The fact that the entire footprint of a terrain piece is an objective was transformative. So much of the time, we'd be like, okay, I'm on this thing. And then you sort of look at it again. I was like, well, no, you're not. Because I'm walking 5 dudes onto the other half of this. They're not even fighting. They're not charged and fighting each other at this point. And we've got representation of both sides on the points, and that was great. So,
Mm-hmm.
hidden was neat. The hidden mechanic was cool. We found it fairly difficult to shoot stuff at range.
Really?
Between the hidden and the fact that the terrain layout that we use the suggested one, and we've set it up as close as we could, we do lack and did lack the terrain area markers. And so what we did from the jump declared that we would play by intent for the terrain. We were using the shop's terrain at the friendly little game store, so it was somewhat narrow. So in places where it was supposed to be much deeper, we just said, okay, so a few inches behind this will also be terrain, so just say. And it went fine. We had no arguments about that at all. We got 2 or 3 tiny rules wrong. We messed up the attached unit rule. Okay, so you've seen this where the character that's attached keeps the rules that it had, or right.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it's all the when this model is leading a unit stuff. It keeps that. Now, that does not mean that if the character is precisioned out, that the unit, the bodyguard, keeps whatever the character gave them. And there's a chart, and there's like a paragraph, but then there's a line in the section of the rules for this, and it says that basically you keep the rule as long as the source of the rule is there. Therefore, if the source of the rule is a character, whether he's leading a unit, not leading a unit, he's the source, so he keeps his rule until he's dead. It does not work, and this is where we messed up. Both of us did it, so it was fine. My Legionary of the Chaos Space Marines lets you re-roll wounds when fighting on a point. Okay? And it does that for the whole unit, so the character gets 2 as well. However, once the bodyguard unit's dead, because they're the source of that rule, the character now does not re-roll wounds. Make sense?
Yeah.
It's easy. And that was
Intuitive.
the thing. Yeah, that was the thing about 11th edition. It felt very intuitive. Man, and we were 1 game in, playing with overrun fights and all kinds of stuff. So the new sort of pile-in rules, the new charge mechanic, all of it just felt great. The new save thing where you select an order that things are going to take saves. There were a couple times where we forgot about it, and I went to roll, and I'm like, oh, hold on. I think we're going to get funny because I got a 4-up invuln on this guy, but the bodyguard doesn't, right? And then I said, wait, we don't do that anymore because the character has to be last in the list because in this case there was no precision.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore I just roll on my saves. Because what they've done, that entire thing has legislated what we have always been doing, which is, I got so many saves on this guy, and then I'm going to have to put them on the right? You don't even have to worry about it. It's built in. You just, what do I got? 25? Blah. Bodyguard. Dead. Because you start at 1, work your way up, and then, okay, they're all dead. Now I'm at 4s. 4. I'm fine. 4, 5, and 6. He's fine. So it was great, and I loved the way that the mission was. I liked how. So I took like a psychic and battle shock detachment, which was kind of or army, which is a weird thing to do into Tyranids, I know, and yet the game was close because Tyranids have the synapse range where they battle shock with 3 dice instead of 2. Makes it tough on you, boy. So I hardly got to use my detachment rules at all. But the game wasn't just kill everything, which was good because I did not bring dudes to just kill everything. I brought dudes to disrupt. And that's what they did. Setting decoys, standing on the point, hiding out, jumping out to stop something when they needed to, getting back into cover. I can't say enough good about it. It's like when we played Bolt Action the other day. The whole thing just worked.
It's good to hear. We need to get a game.
We must. Oh, also, the new way that they formatted the rules, where they're all numbered and stuff, made reference super fast. Because we wanted to play right. It took us about 5 hours to play. Now, nearly 45 minutes of that was figuring out what the heck we were going to do with the terrain, right? Because we didn't have our templates, our area templates to put down, and so the measuring was kind of funny. So we ended up arranging similar terrain as the layout said. And it worked. Again, it worked good. It worked good. It was not in any way a shooting fest. It also wasn't incredibly taxing for melee either. You know, it didn't feel like you were just constantly being set up on and charged into. And I think that has to do with the size of those terrain pieces and terrain layouts, right? Because the idea of staging behind something so that they can't shoot you is all well and fine, except some angles through some of those larger terrain area pieces, that's going to be like you're going to need 7s and 8s on your charges. So it's not super automatic like that. Overwatch at the end of the movement phase is wonderful. Your reinforcement step being anywhere in the movement phase is wonderful. It all just makes sense. And so, 11th edition, gonna be good. I will say, I expect something to happen with the cover and AP. The fact that cover no longer improves your save makes AP super vicious, and it was already vicious even when we had cover on everything. So, I saw a podcast today from my favorite podcast, Getting Spot, besides us, Tabletop Tactics, and they were talking about they were kicking around the idea that we might see the 8th and 9th edition Armor of Contempt return to Space Marine type factions.
Oh my goodness.
Well, they fall to a stiff breeze, and that does not feel great.
It's hard to balance Space Marines. You want them to be super soldiers, but they're the jack of all trades baseline faction. So they're going to take the brunt of any abuse with the system.
Well, yeah, they've got it where they're a horde army, which is insane to begin with, right? And so, if they were to give them Armor of Contempt as like a piece of an army rule, right? So it's just -1 AP, can't get better than a 3, as a base save, right? Basically, cover all the time. 10th edition cover all the time is all it would have to be.
Mm-hmm.
It would make them feel good more often, right? Because you'd have a lot more 3-up saves. And then it would allow them to point them so that you don't have to take 80 dudes, right? That you don't have to take an entire legion to be able to play a game. And then by the end, they're all dead, right?
Lore accurate Crimson Fists.
Up next, there were some Warhammer reveals, the summer reveal. I don't even know. Was that at a event or was that just straight from Nottingham?
I think it was just straight from them. They were just doing the summer event.
There's a whole new old world coming out, or is there? Tell us about it.
There is not a new old world coming out. There is a old world update in that they're coming out with the new rulebook, and the new rulebook has a new cover. It's got a bit of Grand Cathay elements, bringing them into the overall aesthetic of the rule system, and it is bringing over the FAQs and erratas that we have accumulated over the 2 years that this game has been out. So it's more of an updated rulebook. You're going to get all your rules that you've been having to carry around on sheets of paper or documents, PDF documents. You're going to have those, so it's going to make the rule system a lot more concise, and I don't know how more navigable it's going to be, but you're going to have all your rules in your rule book.
Oh,
and I don't know if they don't update the way the rules are laid out. I don't know if it's worth it.
yeah. So here's my thing, right? I recently went on a bit of a I went down a rabbit hole trying to solve what we talked about week before last, where you and I played a game of Old World and found that there is some pretty critical interactions that just do not have rules explanation in the book. And I looked through the FAQs, and there is no explanation there either. And then I went to YouTube and comments in places where people are trying to elucidate us with the finer points of the rules were full of people asking the same question that we asked. And so there appears to be no answer to what the hell happens when there's been a flank charge and so so enemy gets charged from the side. Enemy is destroyed or is routed, right? So they go run away. Well, now
Mm-hmm.
we can follow up, we can pursue, we can hold. That all sounds clear. That all sounds clear, right? Simple. You have to take a leadership test to decide if you're going to hold. What if these guys decide to pursue? They pursue, they catch them, they cut them down, they're dead, they're gone. Okay, so now this other unit's in the wind. Do they hold? Do they have to roll? If they fail to hold, where do they go? Because now their pursuit target is gone. It does not say. It's very stupid.
Mm-hmm.
So what I would like them to do, if they're going to do an FAQ'd rulebook, could they, let's not forget, guys, we talk about FAQ all the time. What's it mean, Austin?
It means frequently asked questions.
Right, frequently asked questions. And their answers. I would like them to answer a couple more frequently asked questions. I don't honestly need them to reformat the rules. I don't need them to reorder them. I don't need a restructuring. It's fine. Like it's a thing from another time. It is not easy. It is complicated. It is just viciously inefficient. But I'm okay with that. When I go to play Old World, I know that's what I'm getting into. But I would like the answers to be in there somewhere. Once again, I call to our community. That was the dog coughing. Once again, I call to our Mini Takes podcast community. If you know what the heck happens in that particular Old World interaction that I described to you, leave it in the comments. We will make a video about it. It will be a big deal. There's people all over the world just winging it. They don't know. Every little community of players just sorts that out however they've decided to do it. And that sucks.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have anything else on that. I do find it interesting that they've decided to do another 2-player starter box.
What do you? This is the first one.
Was there not Bretonnian and Tomb Kings?
They were separate boxes.
They were separate boxes. Those are
This
good
is the
big
first
boxes.
2-player starter set.
Well, that's it. That's great then. I had forgot that those were separate boxes because they felt like the same box. My camera color is going nuts, by the way.
I've noticed that.
All right. We're on your half of the list. Kick us off. I've got it down as more onboarding news.
Oh yes. So we've been talking about onboarding lately. How you introduce someone to 40K. There's the philosophy that you need to take a delicate time and kind of ease them into the game with the here's how one Space Marine moves across the board. Here's how another Space Marine will move across the board. Next week's lesson, we will fire the bolters. Other one is throw them in the deep end with 500 point list. Or maybe even bigger. Just give them 2,000 points and we'll just play the game.
Well, don't forget the other option, which is to play Combat Patrol, which is not quite like anything you're going to do in the future, but...
Well, it didn't even cross my mind. It's such a non-topic.
So what do they got now? They announced something at their reveal.
they have announced. I don't know why it's blanking on me. I had just seen it, what it's called,
The
but
Warhammer Academy,
GW
right?
has the Warhammer. Yes, Warhammer Academy. I was just pulling up. They have created their own proprietary onboarding system, and this is a system of, I believe they're all videos, but it will tell you how to build your models, how to paint your models, how to play the game. They're gonna have lore, like little. I assume they're gonna be like TikTok short length videos about lore elements. Like, here's a space marine. Here's what they do. Here's a bolter. Here's what a bolter does. Just to onboard people into the lore. And I feel like what this is doing is Games Workshop, ever since recently, they have been cornering every single little bit of the market where they have left money or at least IP engagement on the table. And this is going after your kind of YouTube lore guys who are releasing videos where people that are new to the system and the world are kind of absorbing all the information. It kind of sets things straight, because I know a lot of the times the lore people can get stuff wrong. It kind of GW is able to come at their terms with it all and kind of establish the expectations for everything. And
That the majority of the custodian
it's
guard
interesting.
was female the entire time, and everybody knew that, of course.
Yeah, yeah, they were always female. Every single one. You just didn't see it.
Well, I mean, the armor is
It's
very,
off screen.
it's very androgynous. Um, so is this a part of Warhammer Plus, these videos, or is this just going to be a official Warhammer YouTube content drop?
I believe it may be in the app. It may be on Warhammer Plus.
It's
If it
not in
is
the
on
app
Warhammer
now.
Plus, this is upcoming. They just announced it on Friday,
Okay.
but uh, it is. It's interesting that they're only coming out with this now, but it is the new edition, so
Yeah,
it makes sense for that. But
I
like, they should have done this a long time ago.
I don't have Warhammer Plus, but I do understand they have a lore show that comes out pretty often.
Yeah,
So I feel like that one's kind of already done. I wonder too. So I think the lore is cool in like the little snippets of it that you get in the codex, right? I really enjoy those 3 to 5 page little pieces that they have in the codex, right? There's a really nice one about my favorite, and it's part of how he became my favorite, Harken World Claimer in the 10th edition Chaos Space Marine Codex. That's about the limit that I have on lore. So I don't know what people are going to these lore YouTube channels for. That's just not it's not my taste. But I think they're going for something to prattle on in the background while they do something else. Like us. Probably a lot of people listen to us while they do something else, which is fine. Now, I don't know what capacity GW feel like they have for content creation of this sort, right? Because either you're going to make a dozen, let's be generous, because it probably wouldn't take a dozen. Let's say a dozen videos on sort of base level, baby's first 40K experience, right? Interaction. You're going to make like a dozen evergreen videos, and either those are going to be somewhere on the app or somewhere on Warhammer Plus for
it's its own thing. So
yeah, until they're old and dusty, or they're going to be on YouTube somewhere and they'll be so far buried under other stuff that people won't find them. You see what I'm saying? I feel there's a discoverability issue with this. That
Well, I was looking at it. It's its own website, or at least its own program that you go to, and it has all the videos there. There's like 150 videos that they have
really
planned.
okay.
Yeah.
That may be worth doing, I suppose. I just I don't know. I don't know. Feel like I feel like that what Dungeons and Dragons does with their Adventurers League at friendly local game stores has been transformative. And the grognards, the old heads, will say, yeah, transformative into woke garbage, and we don't like it anymore. We're leaving Wizards and burning our D&D. Okay? What it has done is there are young people all over the place, totally uninitiated to this thing. They maybe watch some YouTube and da-da-da, and they are, like I said in opposition of Tabletop Simulator, showing up and doing the thing. And perhaps maybe GW Academy needs to be a little more like the Pokemon League back in my day, where you would go and do a thing and it had like some resources. There's Rooster Dog featured on the YouTube video, folks. Where somebody sort of leads a class feels too proper, but it's not a class. But we'll see. We had one more thing in the rundown in what has become a bit of a mega episode. I've got it down on the rundown as Warhammer versus the World.
Sounds like a good movie.
It does. It's the crossover event of the season, right? You remember the CW superhero DC shows where they would all like pile up and you'd get 3 episodes in a row from each one and they'd all be connected. But if you're watching them in the future on the various streaming platforms and you're like, wait a minute, why am I getting part 3 as I binge watch The Flash? I don't want to watch Legends of Tomorrow or whatever they were called.
Yeah.
So what about it? What are your theories? What are your takes? What are your thoughts?
Did I put that down?
Yeah.
I don't think I put that down.
Well, you didn't put it down like that. You put it down as something like Warhammer's closing in on collecting all the money left on the table.
Oh. Okay, yeah, I was confused. I was getting so excited for this topic of Warhammer versus the World because I didn't know what that was.
Oh,
so I was excited to hear your take because that's I had never heard that before.
I have takes, but I have them off of the 6 the 7 words that you wrote.
Yeah,
I had to get it to fit on the rundown.
Yeah,
we're a professional operation.
Essentially, everything we've talked about today is GW kind of closing in on leaving money on the table, or like I said, just their involvement in everything and able to manicure 40K in the world, like pruning a bonsai tree, being able to like the tabletop simulator thing, able to control their IP there. They're pushing more on that. They are doing the kind of introduction consolidation with Warhammer Academy to kind of build the base level for getting into the hobby and kind of growing a community, or at least like kind of nurturing the player growth with that. They're just doing a lot more. They're doing a lot more and coming in from all directions that normally would have been left up to the community to do. Things like content creators for onboarding and local community for onboarding. They are there's only so much left for them to go after that they haven't already done, and I feel like they're getting the final pieces in place for the ultimate Games Workshop capture of 40K. And
Yes.
containing the beast they have unleashed on the internet.
Yeah, winning.
They're about to close the ball.
Winning the capitalist war against all competitors, for sure. I tell you one that you left out, which is huge, and I don't even think people are talking about it enough. I don't know why you would use tabletop battles anymore. Because when me and Jenny played our game, we connected our Warhammer apps where we could not only see all of our rules in the same tab as the scoring, in the same tab as our secondaries, our primaries, the actions they're associated with, all of it, we could see each other's rules. Oh, and while we're
Mhm.
at it, we don't know how something works because it's new. Reference down at the bottom. Bang, bang, bang. One-stop shop, baby. Keeps the
Yeah.
stats. Just worked really good.
Yeah.
And they've been on it too. Uh, I can't remember what day we played, but there had been an update to the app the day before. And then when we got there, we realized after a little bit that we had two different versions of the app. There had been another. So they're running through, they're looking at the comments, they're looking at what people are saying, where there are errors, they are fixing them. And you want to talk about plugging a hole in their market, in their game, in their sort of, like you say, control of the experience. That one has been
Mhm.
supreme.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what you got to do, Tabletop Battles. Something else. I think they have a podcast. They're probably fine. But it's like you're saying, they are attempting to, if not be the best source for something, then they're trying to be a serviceable one at least. And I think that's good overall, because I think that we're not just strictly a 40K show, though we have been lately with the release of 11th, because what else are we going to talk about? I play 40K. It's a big deal to me.
Mhm.
Uh, but some of these spots get kind of crazy. The channels that are super negative on GW because they don't patch the rules within minutes of there being some sort of issue with them, right? Like those are not those those are not personalities and experiences that GW would prefer, and I can't blame them. Those sort of, let's call them experiences, are not ones that I prefer. I kind of like
Yeah.
people randomly shooting from the hip. Like in our comments here on Mini Takes. We want your takes. Don't forget to subscribe as well so that maybe we get more people's takes. And we'll see you next time on
Many takes.